Have you ever felt that look? That moment when she stares at you, and for a split second, you realize there's something there you'll never fully understand. Something sweet, yet impenetrable, something that invites you in, but also pushes you away. There's a mystery in the feminine gaze that transcends generations, cultures, epochs. And few men in history have had the courage to truly look at this mystery without fear, without romanticization, without lies. Socrates was one of them. The first man to see through the fog, and what he discovered changed everything. Before we continue, if you're here seeking real answers, unfiltered, about what really happens in the dynamics between men and women, subscribe to the channel right now and hit that notification bell. Because what we're exploring today isn't empty theory, it's brutal self-awareness. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand why so many men fall, not because of them, but because of the illusion they build about them. Let me be direct from the start. This isn't about hate. It's not about blaming women for anything. It's about you waking up. It's about you stopping living in fantasy and starting to see reality as it is. Because while you live in illusion, you suffer. You lose. You become an emotional puppet in the hands of something you don't even comprehend. Socrates lived over 2,000 years ago, but he understood something most men today still don't understand. He realized that feminine behavior isn't linear. It's not logical in the sense we men try to apply. It's multi-layered. It's emotional, intuitive, instinctive. And all of this coexists simultaneously, changing like the wind changes direction. This isn't conscious manipulation. It's not planned malice. It's natural design. It's how nature programmed the feminine to function. The problem isn't with her. The problem is with the man who tries to understand this literally, rationally, directly. He fails. He will always fail. Because while man thinks in straight lines, woman acts in circles. While man seeks logic, she operates in the realm of the symbolic, the emotional, the energetic. If you try to interpret literally what she says, what she does, what she signals, you lose. You lose the game before it even begins. Socrates knew this. And he taught that the man who doesn't examine his own nature, who doesn't question his own reactions, is condemned to be a slave to his own desires. Think about how many times you've been confused by mixed signals. She says one thing but does another. She pulls close then pushes away. She seems interested then acts distant. And you're there, analyzing every word, every text, every gesture, trying to decode it all like it's some kind of logical puzzle. But it's not a puzzle to be solved. It's a dance to be understood. And the moment you stop trying to figure her out and start mastering yourself, everything shifts. Now let's get to the point that hurts. The fundamental mistake that destroys men every single day. Confusing beauty with truth. Feminine beauty is one of the most powerful forces in nature. It paralyzes, it enchants, it seduces. But it's not the essence. It's a veil. It's an invitation, yes, but it's also a filter. Beauty attracts, but at the same time reveals something about you. It reveals whether you have focus or if you're easily led. It reveals whether you have center or if you lose yourself in external shine. And here's the secret few understand. Woman tests without even realizing she's testing. It's not a planned trick. It's survival instinct. It's how she evaluates whether you're strong enough to be trustworthy. The question you need to ask yourself, and this is serious, is this: do you lose yourself in her, or do you remain yourself even when she shines? Because the answer to that question determines everything. It determines whether you'll be chosen or discarded, whether you'll be respected or merely tolerated, whether you'll be desired or just used emotionally until she finds someone better. Her beauty isn't the problem. The problem is the hole inside you that her beauty exposes. And this is where we arrive at the most important turn of everything we're discussing. She's not the test. You are. Woman isn't creating obstacles in your life. She's just reflecting what already exists inside you. What does she reveal? Insecurity, neediness, lack, internal emptiness. Or, if you're on the right path, she reveals clarity, presence, purpose, integrity. The problem isn't her walking away. The problem is, why does your entire life collapse when she changes her tone of voice? Why do you panic when she takes longer to respond to a message? Why do you lose sleep when she suddenly acts cold? The answer is simple and brutal. Because you have no foundation. Because your life isn't built on you. It's built on her. Every successful man who's mastered this game will tell you the same thing. The moment they stopped caring so much is the moment everything changed. Not because they became cold or uncaring, but because they built something solid inside themselves that couldn't be shaken by external circumstances. They developed a mission bigger than any single woman. They created a purpose that gave them meaning regardless of who was or wasn't in their life. If you're enjoying this content and want more truths that nobody has the courage to say, hit that like button right now. It helps the channel grow and brings this message to more men who need to hear it. And comment down below, what was the biggest illusion you ever had about relationships? I want to hear your story. Let's talk about the internal hole. The root of all masculine failure in relationships. Men try to fill an emotional void with romance. They believe that if they find the right woman, everything will be solved. Loneliness will disappear. Life's meaning will appear. Happiness will arrive. But Socrates said something powerful. Desire without examination becomes prison. When man transforms woman into solution, he becomes an emotional slave, and she feels it. She feels that he needs her to exist. And the moment she feels that, she loses respect. Not because she's mean, but because instinctively she knows that a man who desperately needs her isn't a man who can protect her. He's not a man who can guide her. He's a man who will depend on her emotionally. And that kills attraction. This is why the nice guy always finishes last. Not because he's nice, but because his niceness comes from a place of neediness. He's nice because he's trying to purchase affection. He's giving in order to get. He's investing hoping for returns. And women can smell this from miles away. They can sense when your kindness is genuine versus when it's a strategy to win them over. Authentic generosity comes from abundance. Manipulative niceness comes from scarcity. And scarcity is the most unattractive energy a man can carry. The only escape from this cycle is simple, but difficult. Examine what hurts inside before seeking outside. Build your own life, find your own purpose, develop your own strength. Only then, and only then, can a woman enter your life in a healthy way. Because she won't be the foundation. She be the company. And there's a brutal difference between the two. A foundation supports everything. When it cracks, everything collapses, but company enhances what's already there. Company adds color to an already beautiful painting. Company makes a good life great, but doesn't make an empty life full. Now let's talk about the tests. Those feminine behaviors that drive men crazy, the delayed response, the sudden silence, the apparently motiveless drama, the coldness out of nowhere. Most men interpret this as rejection, as lack of interest, as dirty play, but it's none of that. She tests not to diminish you. She tests to feel security. She's evaluating unconsciously most of the time 3 fundamental things. First, emotional stability. Do you panic when she acts different, or do you remain firm? Second, silent leadership. Do you react to her drama, or do you remain in your center? Third, center strength. Do you break when she changes the emotional climate, or do you remain unshakable? She wants to see if you're genuinely strong or if you're just pretending. Because in the real world, in actual life, she needs to know if you're going to crumble at the first difficulty or if you'll remain solid when everything around is falling. That's the test. And most men fail miserably. Why? Because they never developed internal strength. They developed masks. They developed performances. And masks fall, performances tire. But internal strength remains. Here's what the test actually looks like in real life. You're having a great week together. Everything's perfect. You're texting, laughing, connecting, then suddenly she goes cold. Radio silence, you send a message. Nothing, you send another. Still nothing. Now your mind starts racing. What did I do wrong? Is she with someone else? Should I call her? Should I show up at her place? This is the test. And in this moment, you have 2 choices. You can panic, chase, become desperate, send 10 more messages, write a paragraph explaining your feelings. Or you can remain unshaken. You can continue your day. You can trust that if she's meant to be in your life, she resurface. And when she does, you don't punish her, but you also don't act like nothing happened. You remain calm, centered, unmoved by the chaos she created. Now, the secret that every woman keeps but will never verbalize directly: she doesn't want control over you. She wants the possibility of emotional rest. She wants to feel like she can relax by your side, that she can lower her guard, that she can stop emotionally leading the relationship and simply trust you. The man with strong center is the man she can trust. Firm and calm presence is what deeply attracts. It's not money, it's not status, it's not looks, although all that helps. What she seeks at the deepest level is a man who doesn't break, a man who doesn't need her to exist. And here's the most beautiful and cruel irony of the game. The man who doesn't need her is exactly the man she feels she can follow. The man she truly chooses, not the man she tolerates, not the man she uses, but the man she respects. There's a brutal difference between choosing and needing. When you need her, you're asking permission to exist. When she chooses you, she's recognizing that you already exist completely without her, and that her presence in your life is a bonus, not a necessity. This reversal changes everything. It shifts the entire dynamic from desperation to genuine connection, from neediness to mutual respect, from you chasing validation to her pursuing your attention because she recognizes something rare in you, something most men will never develop because they're too busy trying to be chosen instead of becoming choosable. Let's talk now about the men who lose, and about why she leaves even when he did everything right, or at least thinks he did. Man modifies his own life to please her. He abandons friends. He leaves hobbies aside. He stops training. He stops growing. He puts all energy, all focus, all attention on her. And he thinks this is love. He thinks this is dedication, but it's not. It's self-destruction, and she feels it. She doesn't walk away for lack of love. She walks away for loss of respect. Socrates said something that crosses millennia. The man who lives to be seen loses himself. When you live to be approved by her, you lose your essence. And when you lose your essence, you lose attraction. The cycle is always the same. It starts with passion. That initial chemistry, that fire, but then comes emotional dependence. You start needing her to feel good, then comes fear. Fear of losing her, fear of disappointing her, fear of not being enough. That fear leads you to submission. You start agreeing with everything, avoiding conflicts, suppressing your own opinions, and then comes loss of attraction. She simply stops seeing you as a man. You become a friend, you become emotional support, you become useful but not desirable. And in the end comes the rupture. She leaves, and you're there, destroyed, not understanding what happened, thinking you gave everything. But the truth is, you gave everything in the wrong way. You canceled yourself. And nobody desires someone who cancels themselves. Think about it for a moment. Every time you've lost yourself in a relationship, what happened? You probably started strong, you had your own life, your own mission, your own identity. She was attracted to that version of you. But then, slowly, you started morphing into what you thought she wanted. You started seeking her approval for every decision. You started measuring your worth by her responses. You started living for her smile, dying with her frown. And the moment you became that, the moment you handed over your power, she started pulling away. Not because she wanted to hurt you, but because the man she was attracted to disappeared, and in his place stood someone unrecognizable, someone needy, someone weak, someone looking for a mother, not offering a partner. Before continuing, I want to ask you a question. How many times have you lost yourself in a woman? How many times have you abandoned your dreams, your goals, your routine, just to please someone who left anyway? If this has happened to you, you need to hear what comes next, because there's a different path. A path that Socrates pointed to over 2,000 years ago, and that still works today. The Socratic path is simple, but requires something few men have: courage to look within. Life must be built around discipline, around purpose, around clarity, around self-control. Not around a woman, not around external approval, not around validation. You build your life first. You become someone first. You develop your skills, your body, your mind, your character. And only then can a relationship enter without destabilizing you. Because woman enters man's life as companion, not as foundation. The foundation is you. It always was you. It always will be you. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop begging for attention. You stop getting desperate about tests. You stop panicking when she acts cold because you know who you are. You know your value. And you know that if she leaves, you'll continue. Not happy immediately, but whole. And that's real power. That's the power that she recognizes and respects. That's the power that makes her want to stay. Not because she needs you, but because she chooses you. And that choice, that conscious decision to be with you despite having options, despite being able to walk away, that's what real attraction looks like. The unshakable man. That's the final destination of the masculine path. It's not about being cold. It's not about being insensitive. It's about having center. It's about having roots so deep that no wind knocks you down. The essence of mature masculine is emotional immobility in the face of the test. Not giving in to neediness, not losing yourself in chaos, not reacting desperately, remaining firm. Remaining present, remaining in yourself. And woman recognizes this man instantly. She doesn't need words, she doesn't need promises, she feels it. She feels it in how you speak, in how you act, in how you look at her without needing her. This is the man she respects. This is the man she follows. This is the man she truly desires. And now the final revelation. The truth that closes everything. She was never the challenge. She's not the battle. She's the mirror of the internal battle. She shows you what you haven't mastered yet. If you're insecure, she shows you your insecurity. If you're needy, she shows you your neediness. If you're emotionally weak, she exposes your weakness. But if you're strong, centered, firm, she reflects that back. The feminine test is just the catalyst. The real game is against yourself. It always was. And when you finally understand this, when you stop blaming her, stop blaming circumstances, stop blaming the world, and take total responsibility for your own emotional strength, everything changes. When you become unshakable, she stops testing and starts trusting. Simple as that. So here's the final call. Don't bend to be loved. Don't lose yourself to be chosen. Don't run from the test. Overcome it. Socrates didn't try to defeat women. He tried to defeat himself. And in the process, he became the kind of man who doesn't need approval. The kind of man who lives seeking truth, not seeking validation. And the right woman, the woman worth having, she joins the path of the man who found himself. She doesn't come to fill a void. She comes to walk beside someone who's already complete. If you made it this far, you're not like most. Most give up halfway, most prefer to live in illusion. But you want the truth. And because of that, you have a choice now. You can go back to the Matrix, you can pretend you didn't hear any of this. You can continue being the same needy, insecure, lost man. Or you can wake up. You can start today building your foundation. You can start becoming the unshakable man. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. And tell me in the comments, are you ready to change? Because she is mystery, but you are the answer.